Let's begin at the top of today's program by introducing our new bar president, Greg Coleman.
Thank you, Matt. And if we truly want to start at the top, it's certainly not me, it's Mr. Harkness sitting back there. So let's be clear. Thank you, Matt, and thank you all for being here, spending time out of your busy schedule to come and meet and greet and exchange information. There are 22 sections and divisions of this bar that is rapidly approaching 100,000 members. I think the last count was 99,933. So we are going to highlight the 100,000th member after this next bar. And last year at this time, I reached out to many of you that are section leaders, 22 of you to be honest, and said, is there something I can do for you? Can I help with something? And in hindsight, that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, because I had 66 assignments, pretty much 3 per section, that I've been working on for the last year, if you will, trying to help you all out in various areas. And I've got some exciting news on a couple fronts that many of you had some issues with. So for your issues today going forward, I want to give you a brand new email address for you to write down, so take out your pen. It's ray.aberdeen@sedgwick.com, okay? How many of you were at the council sections, just out of curiosity? Okay, so just a handful of you. Since most of you were not there, I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes talking about what the Board of Governors' agenda is for this year. It's been in the Bar Journal and the Bar News, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. But it's really 3 things. One is technology, and my technology special committee chair, Kevin Johnson's here. He should be working on the technology committee. Are you multitasking over there? Okay. Kevin's group, yeah. I know, trust me. So Kevin's committee has been tasked with a very aggressive task to put together technology deliverables for our members. There is nowhere on our website where you can go and access technology tools for opening a law office. We all know 59% of our members practice in firms of 5 lawyers or less, 2/3 of our members in law firms of 10 or less, and a full 1/3 are solo practitioners. These folks need help. They need help in identifying technology that they can use to make their practice more efficient, more effective, and then therefore give some time for them, more time for them to spend with their families or do other things. This is a very aggressive project. It's been done in different forms or fashions around the country, but I think when we are done, we will have a platform that will be so useful to our members, and especially the folks, the 59% in law firms of 5 lawyers or less, for them to go access these technology tools, find a member resource for low-cost IT consulting services that we're working on as well, that will provide them the ability to reach out to somebody if they have a PC problem. You know, those, and I'm not picking on Carlton Fields. I don't know why I always use Carlton Fields, but you know, if you're at Carlton Fields and your computer goes down, you call downstairs to the basement, and you know, a bunch of little guys and gals run up with a new PC, they plug it in, and you're off to the races. They disappear. You don't even know where they went. You know, if you're a solo practitioner, your PC goes down, generally it's you, and you're trying to figure out how to fix the problem, and it ruins your day or days or week, which affects your life. So we're working very hard on this, and I'm very excited about it. We're also going to wrap all of the, and I'm going to use the term LOMAS. It's the old program of LOMAS, which we're revamping, renaming, rebranding, as well as the Lawyers Helping Lawyers part of the website. And I don't know if any of y'all had accessed that. It's a concept we came up with when the market crashed to give lawyers free legal resources in terms of how to brand, how to market, how to do all of the things to build a practice, how to maintain a trust account. I mean, some really valuable free CLE. And in hindsight, the name was unfortunate, and I don't mean that sarcastically, but we named it Lawyers Helping Lawyers, thinking this is great. Well, it sounds like, for alcoholics or drug abusers. So, and that's what a lot of the programs are called in other states. And so people saw Lawyers Helping Lawyers and went, well, I'm not an alcoholic, I don't need to go there. So we're rebranding that too. We're going to put all this information in one place, on one platform, relatively soon, so that we can at least get it started. I'm very, very excited about that. The second thing, which is probably the more important thing, is this Access to Justice Summit that you all have probably heard or read about. There's been a number of things occurring over the past 6 months that have really pushed this issue to the front burner. Legal aid is terribly underfunded. They are in crisis mode. The IOTA trust account interest has fallen to historic lows, and they've gone from receiving $40 or $50 million a year to about $5 million a year. And it's just devastating their programs. So we need to find a way to fix that problem. Gene Pettis, my predecessor, very good friend, has said, and I will say, and continue to say, we can no longer look at this as a legal problem and a legal issue. You don't look to the grocery stores to solve world hunger. And they keep looking, society looks to the lawyers to solve this problem. And it's too big of a problem for us to solve ourselves. So we are engaging the outside business community at this summit to try and come up with some out-of-the-box thinking to create some technological tools to help these folks as well and restructure the system. At the same time, looking at the 60% that make more money so they don't qualify for legal aid, but still don't make enough money to hire a lawyer when they get divorced. And this is devastating to those families. It's a pure access issue. They get into the family law system if it's a divorce issue. They get lost, they get frustrated, they get angry, they get irritated, they're unproductive at work, they're depressed, and it's a terrible situation that we need to try to help society fix in conjunction with society. So this summit's going to put it's going to put all the stakeholders together, and Jack Harkness and I think this is going to lead into a commission on access to justice, which is going on nationwide and worldwide, quite frankly. And there's a lot of really good information out there that we're going to not reinvent the wheel with, and we're excited about this. I think Chief Justice Labarga is going to set an example throughout the country because none of these access commissions have engaged the business community. We're the only ones that are doing it. And I think they have to be involved. So that's sort of what we're doing during my term. Vision 2016, very briefly, I know you all have probably read about it. It's the brainchild of really Gwen Young, president before Gene Pettis, and Gene, and to a much lesser degree me. But the concept was, presidents usually have things they look at or study, whatever issue is important to that particular president. And we decided there are 4 areas in the practice of law that absolutely need more long-term study and long-term recommendations for solutions. And those 4 areas are technology, law schools, access to courts, and multi-jurisdictional practice or admissions, meaning somewhere down the road, I can guarantee you, there is going to be a point in time when there's probably a national bar. It's happening. It's happening worldwide. It's not happening here, and it's not going to happen tomorrow. But we need to start looking at the effect of that and how that's going to work and how that's going to affect our members. One of the reasons we're so stringent and not letting others come down here is because all we hear about are we have too many lawyers. You ask all the lawyers sitting around this table, you ask our members, what is the #1 problem besides professionalism in the state of Florida? Too many lawyers. You open the floodgates, we'll go from 100 to 200 like that. So these are things we need to look at. Technology is rushing by us. It's changing the way that we all practice law. And how many of y'all are transactional lawyers? I know Gelfand is. Okay. Have you all heard of the new Shake app, S-H-A-K-E? Okay. So quick example of how technology is affecting us. You all draft confidentiality non-disclosure agreements. To do that, client comes in your office, you meet with them, you get the information, you take sort of a form and you customize it to their needs and uses. You meet with the client again, you modify it, you change it, you edit it, you put it in final form, get it to the client. The whole process takes, a few days, maybe a week, and costs what, $1,000, something like that. There's an app today that you can get on your iPhone right now. It's free. And you go on, you put in the names, basic information as to what you're trying to protect, signature blocks, and in 3 minutes, you have a free confidentiality and non-disclosure agreement. Is it any good? I don't know. Does it matter? No. Because the people that are using it say, okay, I'm protected. Until the agreement's litigated, nobody's going to know. That's one example of about 1,000 that I can give you. So that's critical for us looking forward. All right, so enough about kind of what we're doing, and I'll leave a couple minutes for questions at the end, but I want to talk about some exciting things for you all. Because like I said, I have reached out and spoken to many of you. I've heard some of your concerns. Some of them are the same concerns from section to section to section. And the first thing I'm going to talk about, and I'm glad Matt brought it up, is the financial aspect. And Marcy Jackson, our CFO, is here. And Marcy took over about a year ago when unfortunately Alan passed away. And she is a phenomenal woman. She's very progressive. She has looked at our systems, which are, many of them, quite antiquated. You know, we're like, you know, one of the Eastern Bloc communist countries. You go to, my wife's family's from Poland, so you go to Poland and you'll see this beautiful brand new Hilton next to like a communist housing building, right? So we have this beautiful Facebook page and 20-year-old accounting systems. So we're trying to go through and fix these issues, but in the meantime, here are some exciting things that Marcy's going to talk about in a little while, but I want to highlight them because I think it's very important that you all know we and the bar staff are being responsive to your questions, your needs, and your concerns. There have been a lot of questions about the financials that the sections get, about how they're interpreted, how they're read, how they're calculated, and how they are not timely. And it's affecting your all's ability to operate your section from a financial perspective. So what Marcy has done and her department has done has created some interim steps that are going to, I think, make you all very happy. Number one, they're preparing financial and budget guidelines as requested by all the sections. They're going to provide monthly section and CLE reports, including details of the transactions, monthly. They are discontinuing the revision of year-end administrative overhead charges for undistributed balances, and they've revised several internal charges to more closely reflect external market prices. The accounting department will begin reviewing and footnoting monthly CLE reports to help readers determine the profitability in a more timely fashion. So what will happen is you'll get a CLE report monthly that says, here are the expenses, here's the revenue, we have yet to receive this bill, this bill, this bill, be footnoted. But at least you have the information so you can start tracking it. And I know that's been a concern for many of you, and I hope you appreciate Marcy's hard work on this because she really is trying to get you the information that you need to more efficiently run your section from a financial perspective. That's with the old accounting program. And that's a struggle for her. So two kind of longer term things that she's doing, and I'm going to save the best for last. One is they're now looking at the current accounting program and completely throwing it in the dumpster and starting with a new one. And it should be a computer or a software program that is not just designed for the big bar, but that incorporates sections. And it's sort of like a shopping cart type of website. So, you know, if you buy CLE, it goes in the shopping cart. It immediately gets posted to the section if it's a section product. And it's going to be all consolidated, much more easier to follow, read, and track, and understand. And I think they're very excited about that, and they're working on that as we speak. The last thing is, in December, Marcy will make recommendations to revise the current allocation process for section staffing, management, and overhead charges. I know that has been a question mark in many of your section leadership positions' minds. God, that's terrible English. I speak for a living. But it's been a concern to you. How's that, all right? The way it's been presented to me is we need more transparency. And we need to understand how these allocated charges work and why they're calculated the way they're calculated, because obviously it affects the way that the section runs its business. So Marcy is again looking at that and should have a much more easy to understand, transparent, probably system. The system may be changed or tweaked or modified a little bit. So I think that's, first of all, Marcy, thank you. I think that's very good news, and I know the section leaders will appreciate it. The last thing I want to talk about is communications. We're a very large bar, and we have improved our communications on a couple of different fronts, but we need to get better on a couple of other different fronts. So communications with our members have, from the Board of Governors and the big bar's perspective, have increased and improved tremendously. Years back, about 5 or 6 years ago, on the Strategic Planning Committee, every year, I would say, you know, I've got an idea. I think we should have a video of the president. You know, the people can see the president, touch the president, hear the president. That's the dumbest idea, Coleman, I've ever heard. We're not doing that. You know, we'll send them an email. I heard that for like 3 years. And then finally, Scott Hawkins was a brave man. And Scott said, fine, I'll do the video. And I was like, well, can we do something with your hair? And he said, no, I'm leaving my hair. So Scott's a friend. So, you know, that video, believe it or not, we got more positive feedback from people because we kept it short. It was like 90 seconds max, 2 minutes. And it communicated some information that people were listening to in small sound bites, and our members loved it. Because we don't want, the big bar doesn't want to bombard our members. We will not bombard our members with a bunch of missives. We'll leave that to the sections to do with their section members. And trust me, I get them all because I'm on everybody's list. So our communication with our members are better. After board meetings, we have our board briefs, which go out from the circuit representatives that summarize everything that we do within our meeting with hyperlinks to various documents that they may want to look at. And so we're communicating very well with our members, I think. The Board of Governors are communicating well internally, meaning we have missives in between our board meetings. It's called the clipboard, where we send things back and forth to start talking about issues that are important. I know that certain sections, because like I said, I get almost everything, are very, very good at communicating internally with their members, and I think others are working on that, and I don't mean to exclude the divisions. The YLD does a great job, so does out-of-state division in terms of communicating with their members. But I think we, as a group, need to find a better way to communicate. The Council of Sections is a great idea. I rode up with Gene Pettis from Orlando to Justice LaBarga's swearing in, and we talked about the Council of Sections probably for an hour and a half, and how the power in this room and the creativity in this room is incredible. But we don't talk to each other. We don't know what's going on from one section to another. And some of that may be inadvertent, some of it may be by design, I don't know. But I think that there's got to be a better way for all of us to sort of stay in touch with each other. And I'm not quite sure how to do that, but I've tasked our communications committee at the board level to start the conversation. Because, you know, and especially, I know the bigger sections sometimes feel like they're, you know, they're leaned on to help the smaller sections. Well, you are. Okay, and the smaller sections can use your help on so many different fronts. And at the last Council of Section meeting, we were talking about membership issues for the government lawyers section, Ellie, and the YLD. And there's some synergy there that the YLD can help the government lawyers section and vice versa. But we don't know because we don't talk with each other enough about it. So that is going to be on our agenda. I'm certainly open to listen to any input. Again, the suggestions go to Ray Aberdeen, the input goes to me. But in all seriousness, I'm very accessible. I have visited multiple times every section around this table. So I'm engaged, I'm involved, I will listen to you, and I will help any way I can. So with that, I think I've run out of, as I say to my wife, have you run out of words? Okay, I've run out of words. So does anybody have any questions, thoughts, comments at all? That's hard to believe, a room full of lawyers, really? Mr. Gelfand, there's a surprise.
I want to say thank you very much for the comments that you made to give us an insight as to what's happening concerning the financials, the reporting, and the billing by the bar, because those are of concerns. And for those around the table, Greg, you've been in office for what, a week and a half, 2 weeks, and you've jumped on it immediately. And I thank you, Marcy, and Jack also for addressing these issues.
And thank you, Mike. In all fairness to Marcy and Jack, they had been working on this for quite some time. I just happened to be the one that gets to speak first. But Marcy, Jack, Marcy's staff had some meetings at the end of last year where this was raised, and they've been working on it diligently. And I'm so very proud of them, because I think it's a different time in our bar, Mike. I think years ago, if that request had been made, you may have gotten a different response. But I think you're seeing a lot more reactive, positive reactive movement from not just leadership, but bar staff. So, anybody else?
Just a general question. In order to improve the communication, we're attempting to create a website, which we haven't had yet. And one of the things that we want to do is create liaison with all of the section leaders to try and create ongoing communication. We like your approach. Will we have a list of all the participants at today's meeting, so with their email addresses and contact information?
Terry Hill, the keeper of all important things communicative other than Francine, is nodding his head yes. And two things, and that's a very good question. Terry, I think we can circulate all of the emails for the attendees, because some of them are not vice chairs or chairs, or here, in other capacities. But we certainly have the chair and vice chair listserv for Council of Sections, which has every chair and vice chair of every section and division, that we can send that out, Terry, so that everybody has it in one spot. And then if the chair and vice chair are too busy doing section business, you can always designate a trustworthy person to try and act as the communicator of now I sound like President Bush, the communicator. I'm the communicator. You like that? To help communicate or facilitate communication. Any other questions, comments? This is your chance. Yes, Judge.
With respect to the website issue, I think a number of the sections are developing or changing their website. And one of the issues that continues to come up is the extent to which we can link to the Big Bar's website, and that the Big Bar's website can be a major asset for providing content, because I'm learning that we can have all the bells and whistles in a website, but if you don't have content, you're not going to really benefit your membership. So I would hope that there'd be some way for us to work together, all of the sections in the Big Bar, to kind of link everybody together so that it will be a benefit to everybody.
Well, the good news is the woman standing over here with the mini iPad is you're going to hear from her later today, is our communications director, Francine Walker. And Francine, I know we've had some discussion at the board level and communications on this. Do you know where we are? And if you don't, can we put it on the agenda for the meeting next week?
I will put it on the agenda for the meeting next week. Most definitely. We're just finishing that right now. But as far as linking to the bar's website from your website, that's absolutely something we would encourage you to do.
So,
any area of the website, anything that's available on the Florida Bar
Francine,
website.
can we get them the information as to who internally, I guess it would be in Chris's department, would be is that where we would?
No, it would be your own individual webmasters, the people who are setting the content and the links from your website to our website.
Do we have to give them permission or access or anything?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It goes both ways?
Absolutely. We link to your websites from your pages where we have the section information. And no permission needed. Just copy the link and have at it.
Perfect. All right. One problem solved. 65 to go. Damon.
Greg, you mentioned in two different places about changes in administrative charges to the sections. The changes are going to affect the section splits, or are they going to be financially neutral?
No, I believe, and again, Marcy can probably answer this question better than I, but I think the concept is, first of all, the splits that are in place, I don't think we're working on changing the splits, but I think we're working to make those charges either less, okay, which would increase what the section gets, right? Or at least get more transparent. So what I've heard from a lot of different sections is we can't, we get X charge, on our financials, and we can't figure out what that means, what it's made of, why it's there, what it's comprised of, and if we could we get a little bit more information on that? And that's what Marcy's going to talk about in terms of what she's doing at the end of this year to try and come up with a way to make that more understandable and more transparent. But I think, obviously, we're not doing it, we would never do it in a way to try and hurt the sections. If anything, it's to try and help the sections, both in terms of transparency and to put more dollars in their pocket.
Is the proposal going to go to the Board of Governors in December? Because we
this would not be a Board of Governors, I don't think, related issue. I think this is more of a internal analysis of the administrative charges that are flowing through to the sections and how to better handle that. And like I said, Marcy will address this, but the concept is to lower those, if you will, or make them more simple or flat or something that is easier to understand so that you all don't struggle with what the makeup of those charges are.
Are we going to have something available by the winter council of section meetings?
Don't know the answer to that. You can ask Marcy.
Okay.
Anybody else? All righty. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for all you do. And again, like I said, I'm very accessible. My email, my cell phone, everything is online. So feel free to reach out to me if you need anything. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. This may be a good opportunity to say a few words about the Council of Sections. Any of you here who is a section chair, you got some correspondence probably earlier in the year asking you to name 2 people as representatives from your section to the Council of Sections. One of them must be either the chair or the vice chair, and the other can be, or the chair-elect, and the other can be just another designee if you choose. I noticed when Greg asked how many attended the recent Council of Sections meeting that not too many of you have. Let me encourage you to attend those meetings. They really are an eye-opener when it comes to meeting folks from the other sections and getting a glimpse at the breadth and just extraordinary nature of the bar as a whole. I started attending the council meetings and would just sort of sit in the corner and listen and watch. And generally, the council doesn't have too much pressing business. If things are going smooth in the bar, the council doesn't have much pressing business at all. But what the meetings do is give all of those representatives a chance to come together. And Greg's right, there's got to be a way we can get more interaction out of our representatives. But one thing the council has done for quite a while is just do an around the room update sort of series from the representatives on what's going on in their sections or divisions. It is fascinating to just listen to what they have to say. Now, if it's the reptiles who are talking, it may be a while till they're done, because they have a lot to say. But every section has troubles. Every section has successes. And that's where that kind of stuff gets aired a bit. And before I became chair of the appellate practice section, I would attend the council meetings and I'd just take notes. And I'd think, okay, here's a neat suggestion. I would never have thought of that. I would have thought of that, and it didn't work for them, probably won't work for us either. And just I'd walk away from the meetings with a whole set of things. By the time I became chair, I had a whole list of mostly little, but a couple big things that I wanted to try to do. All ideas I took away from the Council of Sections. So let me encourage you, if you haven't gone, to attend the council's meetings. The next meeting will be in January. I guess we're in Orlando in January, the 24th. So if you can, please do attend.